Welcome to Emerging with Grace. Waiting my life for the sunshine. The show where transformation takes flight. I'm your host, Doc G, and together we're diving into the complex, mystic process of becoming. Life can feel like a chrysalis sometimes, right? You're stuck in the in-between. You're breaking down old patterns. You're shedding old skin. And you're waiting for the moment you can spread your wings. Here's the secret. The chrysalis isn't just about change. It's about grace. It's about finding beauty, joy, and strength. In each episode, we will chat with incredible women who've gone through their own chrysalis. These trailblazers have faced heartbreak, career pivots, self-doubt, or reinvention. And they've emerged stronger, wiser, and full of grace. You'll hear their raw stories, powerful lessons, and how they turned the in-between into a catalyst for prominence. Who is this show for? It's for you, the dreamer, the doer, the woman in the thick of transition, wondering how to navigate your own chrysalis. What will we talk about? Everything, from self-discovery and guidance to grief, loss, and the power of love. When will you get this? Every 2 weeks, we're here to inspire your mornings, boost your afternoons, and bring peace during late night reflections. Why? Because no matter where you are on your journey, you deserve to know you're not alone and that grace is waiting for you on the other side. So get your tea or your coffee, your journal, your favorite cozy spot, and let's dive into stories of transformation, resilience, and the unrelenting power of grace. Let's spread those wings together, my friends. It's time to transform with Emerging with Grace. And now let's meet today's guest, who's ready to inspire you. Waiting my life for the sunshine. Today's guest is the definition of courage and grace in motion. Dr. LaQuista, a 20-year Army veteran, licensed clinical expert, and devout mother, became an unexpected social media influencer after sharing heartfelt videos of her son who has autism, bravely navigating something as simple yet powerful as a haircut. Behind those viral moments ties a deeper story, a story of resilience, divorce, single motherhood, and the pursuit of purpose through pain. With a doctorate in behavioral health and a master's in social work, Dr. LaQuista has spent her career helping women heal from trauma and find balance. But in this episode, she opens up about her own healing, how she has learned that falling isn't failure and that every setback can become the foundation of something greater. If you ever felt like you were the only one struggling, this conversation will remind you that even in the fall, you are rising. Our quote today is, "We think we are breaking, but sometimes we're just bending towards our next version of strength." Welcome. How are you, Dr. LaQuista?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Garrett. It is such an honor to be here with you this evening. So thank you.
Thank you. So let's start at the beginning. You have a 21-year-old son.
20. He'll be, oh gosh, dang, that makes me feel so old. He'll be 21
Legal.
in a few months. Yes, he'll be legal, but he is 20.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my baby. And then I have my 9-year-old who will be 10 in like 2 weeks. So
That's
they're
a big
about
gap.
10 years apart. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So go back to when you first became a mother. What was that
Oh,
like?
wow. I think it was such a shock for not only me, but like my family because I didn't see myself as a mother.
Hmm.
I didn't like the vision I had for my life is I was gonna be rich auntie, I was going to travel the world. I was going to spoil all my nieces and nephews, but I guess God had other plans for me. I actually became a mom after my first deployment to Iraq. The timeline in this world has been all jumbled since COVID, so please forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2003, I got deployed to Iraq for a year. So I came back like February 2004 and I met my first husband. We were working together. I had started a job working in a bank vault. So I was a money girl, and he was the guy on the back of the truck. So I was handing him the money, and he was like very country, but he made me laugh. Like he reminded me of home. I'm from a really small town, and we just instantly clicked. And we started dating. Before you know it, I was pregnant and I was so nervous to tell my family. And at the time, what, 24? Like
Mm,
24 years old, still super nervous to tell my family because, again, this wasn't what I had in mind for my life. But yeah, I became a mom in 2005, February. My oldest son, Jordan, he was such an easy baby. Like I had, like growing up, had no issues with him. I eventually got divorced from his father because I got deployed again. So years later, I went to my second deployment, went back to Iraq. So I'm going back to the same war. And it was just such a difficult time being, like a fairly newly married couple. We had, I think, Jordan, see, I'm mixing up the name. So Jordan was about 2 years old at the time. And I
okay.
had to leave for a year to go back to war.
That's
So
a
I left my husband, I left my baby, and I remember this conversation because we were already kind of having problems. We were young, probably too young to get married. We had moved into like this new home, like all of these responsibilities and things. I was probably still struggling from some PTSD from my first deployment that I hadn't
mhm,
dealt with. And I got this news that I was getting deployed. And I remember lying in bed and I was crying, and we made a decision that we were gonna work it out. Like this wasn't the time to be separating. But I said, I don't know if I'm gonna come back. Like I could literally die over there.
mhm.
But I want you to promise me that if I don't come back, that you won't take my baby away from my family. I want him to be raised around my family. And so we made that pact and that promise. And, thank God I made it back, but it definitely changed who I was. It affected my husband, my child, like everything. It was a lot coming back from that.
That sounds like a lot. I know they
Yeah.
really love to. I shouldn't say that they love to pull families apart, but they don't take into account because I've seen nursing mothers be deployed, and she's nursing. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
It is all about the mission. And I just knew I wasn't gonna be deployed. I was like, "No way they're gonna deploy me." Like, my and the crazy thing is my first deployment, everybody went. It was my whole unit. We all went together. This time, I randomly got pulled because I had a specialty and they sent me to the MOB site, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You're not gonna it's just a formality. You got all these injuries," because I had, like, some back problem stuff going on. I was kinda broken down. I had, like, a little my baby wasn't even 2 years old. They stamped my paper, "Go. You're a go at this station." They was like, "Okay, you're gonna have your orders in 30 days. Get your affairs in order." I was like,
oh
"What?
wow. And don't
What?"
you have to sign over custody?
Yeah, well, I was married, so I didn't at the time
Okay.
because, if I was a single mom, yeah, you have to, which that came into play later, because I've gone many places with the military, and after my first divorce, my mom would just take over temporary custody of my son while I go to my duties.
Okay. Okay. It's good you have her for support.
Yeah, she's really been like the foundation, like through single motherhood. So I've been married twice.
Mhm.
Um, I went through this divorce with my first husband. whole military thing, but we're still really great friends.
Oh,
Um,
that's beautiful.
and yeah, and like we co-parent like really well together. Well, our son is grown now, but
Oh, there's
we
still
still,
weddings
yeah,
and more
yeah.
babies.
Like graduation was like our first like big thing, like high school graduation. Now we're planning for college graduation. So it's nice when you have that relationship and you can work together, and his side of the family is still like my side of the family, so it works out well. But yeah, my mom has always been there to assist. And, for many years, he was, okay, this is my only child. I'm not having any more. I didn't want one, but like this is all right. Like
You didn't want
easy
one.
peasy. I I'm good. One and done. I'm good. And quite frankly, I didn't think I could have any more children. I had been in other relationships and engaged before and talking about starting families, and it never happened until my little blessing of Jackson came to be. That's a whole story within itself. But yeah, Jackson came out of nowhere, and he definitely is a blessing. Mhm.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So Jackson was with your second husband.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Are you still
So
friends? Okay.
we are we are cordial. We are cordial. The divorce was really hard.
Mm,
On the family, because at the time we so Jackson, we got pregnant really fast with Jackson. We had broken up, gotten back together, and we were a blended family. Like he had a teenage daughter, I had a teen oh well, was daughter a
preteen.
teen? Yeah, preteen son. And we're like blending our families. I was leaving active duty. He was coming on active duty. So we had to move to a new state, and then, all these kids together in one household. And, you know, we have this little one who's not talking, doesn't seem to be developing like you think your child should. But, it had been so long. It had been 10 plus years since I had a little one. So I'm like, I'm not really sure, but I don't think this is right.
Mm-hmm.
So Jackson was diagnosed pretty early on. And it's so funny how it happened. So I'm living in New Jersey and I'm trying to network. I didn't have any like support there because we had left our family back in Georgia, and I had met this other military spouse. She was a nurse. I'm a therapist. We had talked about collaborating on some things. And so we went out to lunch and we're having this conversation. And she's talking about her kids and she breaks down crying. And I'm like, oh, like, like this is like our second time like really having a conversation. And she's like boo-hoo crying. She's talking about, her kids are grown now, but she had missed so many signs. And so her children were autistic and had some other like disabilities. And she just started talking about like things she had noticed, like with them growing up. And while she's going through her list, like in my mind, I'm like checking off things like, oh, my child, that's Jackson, that's Jackson. And so I'm trying to keep calm and, really validate her feelings. But inside, I'm like panicking. And when I left at lunch, I immediately called Jackson's pediatrician. I was like, can you see us? Like I have some concerns. And so they were able to get us in. His pediatrician was doing an eval, and while she was doing the eval, she had a stethoscope on and it had like a picture, like a sticker. I don't remember what character it was, but she's doing all of her, tests. And he was like laser focused, like on the sticker while she's trying to talk and communicate with him. And Jackson was like 2 at the time. He wasn't speaking, he wasn't potty trained. He was, like, super clingy to me, like, he refused, like, a lot of different, meals I would give him. And so The doctor, she was a military doctor, Air Force doctor.
Mm-hmm.
She said that she thought that he could possibly have signs of autism, but he would have to get an evaluation done. And that was based on a referral because there's certain, you need certain providers who do the testing for it. And she said, but hey, we're in New Jersey, like we have great early intervention program.
That's
I'm
good.
going to submit the referral over for you so you can start getting these services. So the wait list to get him evaluated was like 6 months to a year,
Oh, wow.
which was shocking. But we found out they didn't have enough providers to do the evaluation. But we started early intervention immediately, and I think that made all the difference for us.
Okay. So, what age was he when he started talking?
Um, he got diagnosed just before his third birthday, which in New Jersey he was able to start full day pre-K, which was wonderful. So he was going to pre-K. He still wasn't potty trained, still wasn't speaking. He had one word or one phrase he would say, "It's hot," which I think that was him like mimicking me because I would always, he's in the, I'm like, it's hot, Jackson, it's hot, don't touch it. That
Mhm.
was all he would say. So he was close to 4 before he really started to speak and talk. But in the beginning, he didn't play with any of the kids. He was super attached to like the teachers and they had a parapro in the classroom and that was like his buddy. They were like stuck to each other like glue. But he just started to blossom. And then we went through a divorce. And then
Mhm.
all of that work kind of reverted because we moved from New Jersey back to Georgia, and so
Was
potty
there any
training went out the
processes?
window. I'm sorry?
Were there any people in Georgia that you could just transfer services over to?
You would think, right? You would think that it would be that easy, and I was optimistic. I was like, he's been going to pre-K for, you know, a year and a half. He'll get to go to school. Got to Georgia, they was like, "No, ma'am. Like he can get on the wait list to go to Head Start." I was like, "But Head Start, that's before pre-K. Like he's already done." Okay, what else do you have?
Mhm.
What about ABA? Like we were getting speech and OT. I was like, "No, you can find an outside company that it accepts your insurance," which was
Mm.
TRICARE because we were military
Mhm.
and being where we were located, not too many providers
Tricare.
accepted that insurance. So it was a mess. And then on top of that, COVID happened. And so I had finally found a company and they were coming out, setting up services. COVID happened. They were like, listen, we can't come out anymore.
Oh.
We don't have any providers who are credentialed under your insurance. So you can either pay out of pocket or you can figure something else out. And so me had no job, going through a difficult divorce, had moved back to my home state, but not really around family. I was like, okay. And then it's COVID. I was like, I'll just work with my son myself because I have no other choice. And so it was basically me. My oldest son would, you don't want to put your children on, their older siblings, but he
Right.
definitely stepped in and helped out where he could. But it was difficult. We got a referral. Someone referred us to Marcus Autism Center in Atlanta. We were able to go there and get some support, but it just wasn't the level that we received in New Jersey and Philadelphia. It wasn't. And, when we finally really got connected with the services here in Georgia, I remember trying to get different services set up for him. I had found someone who accepted his insurance. So they said,
Mhm.
but then I got we had appointments set up to start back ABA services. I got an email And I kid you not, I think I made a post about it. They said my out-of-pocket cost per week was gonna be something crazy like $30,000. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
ABA.
for ABA. Like, I'll have to search it. Like, I remember making a I was like, "There is no" probably said a few curse words, but I was like, "You got to be effing kidding me." Like,
Mhm.
there's
So wait, but
it's ridiculous.
was that for you said a week?
That's what they said. And then so I was like, "Are I cleaned it up a little professionally, but I like, "You sure this the right you gave me the right email?" And it was like, "No, no, no, we made a mistake.
Okay.
It's 36,000 per month." Okay, you know what? We're good. We are
Mm-mm.
good. Thank you, no thank you.
I thought they added a zero, like
Right.
maybe
That's like, "No, ma'am."
3,000.
That that's like per month. I was like, "You know what?
Yeah,
So
that's
that was our experience here. So it has been challenging from finding, the services. When he did transition to school, that was another thing. He got kicked out of kindergarten. He got suspended
mhm.
after maybe a month. And that really kicked off our whole advocacy journey when it comes to, standing up for, my son and other
Mhm.
autistic kids and parents, and really knowing like your rights when it comes to special education
Right.
and just having more awareness.
Yeah. You had a 504 or a IEP?
He had an IEP, so we finally got him into pre-K. It was like a private pre-K, but the state paid for it because they didn't have any within the public school.
Mhm.
Um, Part of that free and appropriate education they have to provide. And so when we had an IEP meeting, that when he graduated from his pre-K, getting ready to go to kindergarten the next year, I really expressed my concerns about him going from this small, maybe 15, student classroom to now he's going to a big elementary school with I think I think the school maybe had like 1,200 to 2,000 students, and I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
and this is all during COVID, and so we met, we had an IEP meeting before the summer, in contact with the district, with his new school. I had to go up there before school started, so I'm like, okay, we're all set. First day of school, I get a phone call, maybe 2 hours in, like, please come to the school. I'm like, what? What happened? Is my baby sick? Is he hurt? He was like, no, you got to come get him. So with a lot of autistic people, like structure and routine is very important.
Mhm.
And so, first day of school, they're taking them around, and this is the library, this is the cafeteria where you will eat lunch. So they took them to the cafeteria, and they was like, "This is where you'll eat lunch," and they're just showing them around. They said lunch,
He was ready.
cafeteria. He was like, "No, this is time to eat." And he refused to leave, and one of the teachers, or I don't know if it was the assistant principal, but someone, tried to, kinda nudge him, or I'm not gonna say they put
Mhm.
hands on him, but trying to guide him to leave, and
Mhm.
he eloped. He took off running, he's very fast. Um, and so they're running around trying to catch him, and when they put hands on him, try to restrain him, he went into fight or flight.
Mhm.
And so he knocked the principal, her earrings went flying across the room, he had hit another teacher. It was just and
Mhm.
so by the time I get there, my baby, he's a bit calm, but you can tell he had had like a complete meltdown.
It was a horrible
Um,
day.
it was a whole thing. And so we talked about it because I believe in, letting him express himself. And a lot of times he didn't have the words, but he was really good at drawing his emotions out to me. he was talking, but he could better communicate via his art, like what was really going on. And
Mhm.
that's, I noticed that he was very talented when it came to art. And he, we sent him back the next day. He apologized. We bought the principal a new set of earrings because, sister girl came cute. She had her heels on. She had her big hoops. Why would you have big hoops and you're
Yeah.
elementary school principal? But okay, I see it's first day of school. Maybe you didn't think he was gonna have to work that hard. But my question was, had anyone looked at his IEP? Like, this is the first day.
Mm.
And it became so the third, I don't think they called me the second day, but the third day I got a phone call, the fourth day, the fifth day. Like it had gotten to the point where his teacher was calling me all the time. And I was like, is he hurt? Did he hurt anyone? Like, do I need to come? You can't, like, I have clients, you can't call me all day.
Right.
She was like, well, I have so many students, I can't just, and I get it. It was COVID. They had way too many students in the classroom. This teacher was not a special education teacher. They put him in gen ed. They were working with what they had at the time due to COVID. But unfortunately, many of our kids fell through the cracks, didn't get the appropriate services and tools that they needed. And about a month in, I got a phone call. They said he had he had a meltdown and he had turned over a desk or something, and they suspended him for a week. Like, wow, kindergarten getting suspended for a week? Like,
Mhm.
cool. Okay. And so the Friday before he was supposed to return back to school that Monday, we had a meeting, with his teacher. We had been monitoring, they had monitored his progress like the week before his suspension. We were talking about, his behavior. And I'm thinking we're having a plan for him to return to school. And so this Friday, I get on the Zoom. It's like his teacher, it's the assistant principal, it's someone I didn't. So I was caught off guard, like who was in the meeting. And at the conclusion of the meeting, they basically said, and he cannot return. Like, what?
Mm.
So they kicked him out of school. They transferred him to a behavioral program at a different school that was zoned outside of our address or where we were supposed to go.
So you had to take him.
And yeah, so because I had no choice, like it was a Friday, this is like 4 o'clock meeting, like no chance to appeal, do anything. They said, we're gonna set up transportation the first week you gotta bring him, but we'll pick him up. I was kicking and screaming, but it was the best thing to happen to my child, going
Oh,
to that
good.
program. It
Talk to me
really
about that.
was. So the program, and he's still in this program today, and he's in 4th grade. But the program, they take certain kids in special education who have behavioral problems, may need some special education services, and they put them at one school within the district. So no matter where you live, they all go to this one school, this one classroom. So it's multiple grades, and
Mhm.
they have teachers, special education teachers, teachers who are trained in different areas. And he had the best teacher. Like this, his teacher, she literally has become family to us, and she's been with him throughout. So this was kindergarten up until 3rd grade. She was with him, and he had like just really encouraging him and pushing him to slowly put him in gen ed classes, which I was against. I was like, nope, my baby's safe here. He's doing well. He's
Mhm.
making honor roll. He's not having any issues. But now he's still in the program. It moved to a different school, but he takes most of his classes in gen ed, so he gets pulled out, but he's still based like in the program, so it's a smaller, maybe like 5 students, so he doesn't get really overstimulated. He gets the extra help. They make sure they follow his IEP, but he's taking math with social studies, science, English, everything with I don't want to say regular, but he's in a gen ed or mixed population classroom, and it has been it has been great for us. And the thing that I found out with his teacher who was with him up until 3rd grade, she's a special needs mom as well. Like,
Oh,
so she got it. Like, she
mhm.
understood, and that was the reason why, she went special education route.
Okay. I love it. So you got them where you need them to be. Everything's good, right? Your emotions are, we're not mama bear all over the place,
Yeah.
and everything was good.
It was a journey. Now, it did not happen overnight. There were times where, you know, I definitely still got calls, like, to the school, but they were more equipped to handle it. I think
Okay.
I was in a better place. I'm more stable at the time. He could communicate his needs and what he was feeling and going through, so it definitely was a journey, but like I was saying with him communicating via his art, I really found that he was super talented when it came to drawing. Like, he's phenomenal, and I'm not just saying that because he's my kid, but he could draw really well, and that has been, you know, like, it has been an outlet for him to communicate, but it has also been used, like, within his teaching. So, at school, when he gets to do art or any special projects, he's in his element, and art really opened up a world for him and opportunities where he knows how to do animation, which he taught himself.
Mm.
I mean, I'm still like, "Oh, wow. How do you do that?" But he does animations on the iPad, and he's been in programs with college students. He's At the time, I think he was, like, 7, and he's working alongside high schoolers and college students and has mentors who have worked for Cartoon Network and Disney.
Nice.
So art has really kind of been like the tool and the gateway for us to really allow him to express himself, for him to really get comfortable with being different. And that was one of the reasons I decided, let me create a community or something for other parents to really. I think is one thing as a parent, like, you have to get through your own stuff when it comes to your child being diagnosed.
Mhm.
Um,
I was gonna
your
ask
own
you if we go back to that
Yeah,
nurse. She was crying
yeah,
because she had mom guilt. Have you ever
I
had
definitely
mom
felt
guilt?
that. I definitely felt the guilt. It was some guilt mixed with shame. Not that I was ashamed of my child, but, the stigma behind having a child who is different, and
Mhm.
especially in Black communities. Ain't
And
nothing
people don't
wrong with him.
understand.
Like, right. "Oh, there's nothing wrong with him," or if it's something clearly wrong, and I put air quotes, we don't talk about it, we just ignore it. "Oh, they're
Mm.
just special, they're touched," or we'll just put them in the attic or the
What?
basement, and you know how it goes.
Mhm.
You
My
know how
father's
you
from the
have
South.
y
He used to
yes,
say "touched" all the time. They
yes,
touched.
touch. Uh, I remember growing up, having a cousin, an adult cousin who we all knew something wasn't quite right.
Mhm.
Nobody ever said it. It was, "Oh, that's just your cousin so and so. He a little special."
Mhm.
I see all I see all the things now, like, as a therapist and sitting in this seat. I can see how him not getting services and intervention, probably, he's way older than me, like from a child, and where he is now in his life. And that's not the life that I want for my son. My goal is for my son, if I'm not here, for him to be able to take care of himself, for him to be able to advocate for himself, for him to not be dependent on anyone. He'll have his brother, but he also needs to understand and know that, okay, you're you're autistic, but you're also a Black boy who is one day going to be a Black man, and that's the first thing people are going to see
Correct.
when they see you. So some of the stuff, it's a harsh reality, but we have to prepare you for that.
What's that look like?
So I try to do it in a very I try to do like these teachable moments. So
Okay, so I
kind of
saw a video the other day where he's telling the barbershop person about his new girlfriend.
oh yes, yes,
So, how does one of those kind of conversations go? Especially if you just
yes,
finding out on camera.
yes. So one thing about Jackson is he's gonna say what's on his mind, which, I love that about him. I love that he can just be honest, but I do have to caution him, like, Jackson, everything isn't inappropriate everywhere, and really explaining to him why. I don't so that conversation, like, that was just from he we went to get haircuts on Sunday, and, we went viral from a haircut video where, you know, he wouldn't even allow the barber to cut his hair, and now he can sit in a chair and have like a grown up conversation. I hate to say grown up, but he's talking about, his hair, and he doesn't want his hair a certain way because that's how he gets the ladies. And, he misses his girlfriend because he had to change schools. And he has this special relationship with his barber, so he'll say stuff around her that he won't necessarily tell me, and so that gives me an in to have the conversation a little deeper when we get home. There was this one time at the barbershop, and I think I posted a video of that as well. So he has a female barber, which isn't typical. He called his barber gay, and she is. But I was like, "What do you even know what that means?" And he was like, "Yeah, I know what that means. She doesn't like boys, and, she like girls." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "But that's okay though, like, you still love her the same?" He was like, "Yeah, I don't care that she's gay." And, I remember hugging her, like, at the end, like, "Thank you," and I gave her a hug, and he was like, "Mom, are you gay?" I was like, "Jackson, no, 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 hold up now." Like, so those are, like, really, that's a teachable moment. Okay, just because I hug someone who identifies as, gay, or I think he may have even said, no, when I hugged her, he said LGBT. And then I was like, "What? Are you calling me? Are you trying to say I'm gay?" And he was like, "Yeah, you just hugged her." And I'm like, "Where do you even get this from?" So, you know, whatever you don't teach your children, they're gonna get it either at school, the internet, or whatever. So it gives me an opportunity to give him the correct information or point him into the right direction of where he can find it. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's a mix.
Now, he has his own IG. Does he have a TikTok as well?
No, we're on the same TikTok. Um, I created him, so he had a TikTok when we first kinda went viral, because I really wanted to separate, my brand from him and give him his own space, but TikTok banned his account because he's underage. It was like,
Hmm.
I think you had to be, like, 13 or something, even though I ran the account, they shut it down. I think somebody reported it. So we're under my account. I was able to make him his own IG page, but I mainly post like through my account and, with his approval, of course.
I like that. Tell me about his artwork. What is he doing with his artwork?
So he's he's gone through these phases. He used to exclusively draw, pen, paper. He would do paints and pencils and all the things, all the markers. He had like professional markers and stuff. And we had found him an art school, a local art school, which has been really great, where he got exposed to art galleries and having his own work in galleries. But then he kind of pulled back. I think as he gets older, he's trying to figure out what he enjoys. And he really got into the digital animation of
Mm.
sorts. And so I bought myself an iPad for my business, which he kind of just took over my iPad. He used it one day and he was so good at it. Like he figured that thing out in 2 seconds. So I just let him just be creative with that. He says that he is creating a show. He says a reality show, but it seems to be more like comic style with his animation. We haven't done too much with it yet, but just because I'm like super cautious, I don't want to infringe on anyone's trademarks or get any cease and desist or get sued. In the beginning, he would draw like many of the characters that, kids love, Sonic and Mario, and people would inbox us, "Alright, is he selling that? Can we make a sale? I won't tell." I was
Mm.
like, "Y'all not about to get me hemmed up."
Mm.
So we're we have and with his art teacher really pushing him to develop his own character. So that's where he's at creatively, like trying to figure out his style, his own characters. We have plans to do an art show specifically for kids on the spectrum. So in partnership with his art school and then our company on the spectrum, we want to do something really nice. So we're putting that together where he and other, kids across the globe, it doesn't really matter, but probably more locally, will be able to display their art and have people bid on it.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, Holly Robinson Pete. I don't know if you've heard her story.
Oh, yep.
Okay. And it almost broke up their marriage. Was there any, because dad could not understand where this came from?
Yeah.
We know that it's hereditary, but was there any issue with trying to explain that to his dad?
And I'll say this, I definitely think it affected our marriage, not that it was the only thing.
Mhm.
Um, at the time when he was we were going through the process of getting him diagnosed, I was also finishing up my dissertation, like, it was a lot of things happening, and his dad, my now ex-husband, really was hands-on with him. Like, I was trying to finish school, he kinda I practically almost had a nervous breakdown just with all of the work I was doing, and so he was like, "Just focus on getting through this. I'll take care of, like, the home thing." So he was going to work, military, coming home, really taking care of the kids while I'm, finishing up, my drafts and resubmitting all of my stuff and going through that process. He was super supportive in that. But one of the things we struggled with was really communication
Mm.
with my ex not fully expressing his feelings in the relationship. So I'm sure he probably felt like he couldn't or didn't have a voice. So he never expressed that to me, but his actions definitely did. When we tried to have a conversation about, you know, autism, it's hereditary. Like he took it as an attack, like,
Oh,
"Oh, you're trying to say he got this from me," which when I look back, and I'm not diagnosing anybody, I see so many signs where I feel like he probably is a misdiagnosis, and he has other children now that I know that is also autistic. So it's not a blame thing.
right.
This is facts. Like this is, it so but it is hard. And I do talk about oftentimes like me being a single mom, a lot of times my audience or the people who support me may be married or be in relationships, but they feel like single parents. Oftentimes, not many. I have some wonderful autism dads who follow me, but oftentimes the dads really struggle with just being comfortable with my child is autistic and saying that. They
Mm,
feel like it's an attack or it's a dig on them, like something is wrong.
right.
No, this is like you need to again get over your ego, get through your
It's
feelings. I
ego.
get it. Like, yeah, we grieve the idea of what we thought our children could be, were gonna be. I went through that, but my child can still do and be anything. And he probably has this inflated sense of, you know, who and what he can be, but I love that. Like, I love that my son has the audacity to think that he can go out and do anything he wants because society is going to tell him he can't. But because his mama is telling him he can, he'll try. And if he doesn't get it, we'll work through those emotions and talk about it. So I think that's really important as well.
That's good. Okay. So he helped you through your doctoral program
Mhm.
and you became a doctor. You opened your own practice.
I did. Well, I I already had my practice before I finished my doctorate. Again, we were in New Jersey. In the beginning, you know how it is, trying to really find your footing, get clients, figure out getting on insurance. So I wasn't really making any money, not
Hmm.
much money.
Oh, no.
Um,
Counselors are rich.
so
People think that.
I could, yeah.
Mhm.
People do think that, but they think they don't understand the insurance game of it all,
No.
and it's a lot. You can't just see clients. You can't see enough clients to make enough money to pay your bills and support yourself and pay taxes.
So do you
Um,
have
you
another?
have to do other things.
Do you have another
Do I have?
besides before you went viral? Do you have
Mhm.
another form of strands of income? My father always said, have as many strands of income as you have mouths to feed.
Right. Yeah. So with me being a veteran, I'm a disabled veteran. So that's one stream.
Hmm.
I frequently will keep a W-2 when I need to. So I've worked in many positions like at the VA and I would just switch and do my practice after work or just try to balance the two. So I've worked for every branch of the military in a civilian capacity outside of like being in uniform. I do speaking, like some consulting. Now with social media, we do partnerships. I'm trying to pick that back up because at one point we were doing so many campaigns and doing so well, but then, other priorities kind of shifted that. And so I really enjoy the content creation of it. Yeah, I do travel work sometimes. So short assignments that pay really well. Um, Anything I can do using my skills, I'll
You,
do it.
you got it together. Okay.
I'll do it. I'll figure it out.
I saw you had a new sponsor the other day, Caraway.
Yes,
Did we
yeah.
get to cooking?
We got to cook. I've been using my caraway, and I'm one who don't like to cook as often, but Jackson told me that he only knows how to make cereal. So I was like, okay, let's get you in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Let's show you how to cook. And so
them
we've
life
been trying
skills.
it out. Yeah, we've been trying it out. That laundry. You'll get in here and you're gonna learn. 'Cause you're not gonna be a problem or burden to anyone else. Not saying that you have to do everything, but you need to be able to take care of yourself.
I love telling my son, don't have no girl calling me talking about your unhealed son.
It's
I don't want to hear
I told my oldest son something similar. I was like, "No girl better not ever talk about your bald-headed mama, your rack." I said, "You son, you gotta." So my son, he's such a gentleman though. I'm so proud of both of them. Like I said, Jordan, my oldest, never gave me any issues. He was easy breezy. He's so respectable. Like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. He opens doors for like his girlfriend, for me. Like he just has that southern kind of gentleman. When we were in New Jersey, all the teachers would say, "Oh, he's so respectful." And I'm like, "What do they mean by that?" He was like, "Mom, these kids here, they're different. They're not." Like, he has that southern kind of thing
Mhm.
about him. And Jackson, he people are just drawn to his personality. Like, he's a little bit more blunt.
He's got a
Um,
bubbly personality, though. It
he
shines
does
through.
he attracts he attracts people. Like, we had at one time, we had kids who had found out, you know, where we lived, and they just start coming to the house. "Can Jackson come play?" And be crying if he's I was like, "What is Jackson? You got a little fan club over here? What is going on?" Like, they love him.
Okay. So, how did you deal with mom guilt? I believe you said the nurse that you talked to was her kids had been grown and she cried
Mhm.
about what she couldn't fix.
Right.
So, have you given yourself that grace to get
Oh,
over
yeah.
what you had no control over?
Right. And I think for her, because her kids were older, her kids blamed her for, like, a lot of like, she said her kids would blame her and say, "It's your fault we're like this." They had went all these years without, I guess, and they had a lot of other issues too, not just, like,
Mhm.
autism, but some physical disabilities. For me, I I think I pour so much into my son. Like, there's no argument me being a great mother, and I pride myself on that. When I was going through this divorce and, it can get bitter,
Mhm.
I was like, "There's no way he can argue that I'm not a fantastic mom." I literally have moms from across the world, like, asking me for advice or saying that I'm a great mom. Like, that validation is
Right.
is good, but seeing my child thrive, like, seeing him just being his true authentic self and being okay in the world, like, that absolved me of all any guilt that I had. And I think in the beginning when I was saying, like, there was never any shame of who he was. The shame came from, me not understanding, like, "Oh, I'm a therapist. I should know what to do with a child." It's different when it's your own child.
Mm.
The sh the guilt
A
came
lot of people
from
don't realize that your specialty is not everything.
no, it's not everything. Yeah, yeah. And every child is different
Yeah, they are.
when it comes to this. And, that guilt of, okay, like, now I'm in a place where I'm yet again a single mom. Like, this is gonna be hard. Like he's gonna miss out on certain things, but maybe maybe I over index in certain areas because maybe it is a little guilt still there, but it's for his benefit. Like I took my ego out of it. I remember when he first got diagnosed, I went to it probably was the Facebook group and I asked for advice or maybe on my original page. And one of the therapists said, "Sit with your feelings. It's okay. They're valid. Now get over it."
Right.
Like you gotta get over
It's
that.
not about you.
And really, yeah, it is not about, and that's what I think parenting is as well. Like these kids didn't ask to be here in this world. Our job as parents is to raise them, hopefully to be good, productive citizens in the world and, you know, but they don't belong to us. Like they have their own lives to live at some point, and our responsibility is to prepare them for that. And so I take that very seriously. With Jackson, he's just, I think I worry so much about him, but in the beginning, I was kinda like that helicopter mom, like, always, like, really afraid to kinda let him grow, let him fail, but he has really stepped up and grown. Last year, I took a travel assignment that was supposed to be 2 weeks. It turned into a 7-month assignment on the
Oh my
West Coast.
gosh.
Yeah. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but my village, my community stepped up, which that is so important. Like, you have to have community, and if it's not your family, you need to build community. We all sacrifice. Like, back I was flying from LA to Atlanta every other week, sometimes weekly, just to be there for the weekend, to, making sure that he knows that, "Hey, like, mommy's not going anywhere. This is something we're sacrificing because I want to put us in a better position. Like, these are things we all have to sacrifice, in order for us to get to this next goal that we want to accomplish." And so his teacher was he was super, super, super supportive and helpful. My oldest son, he was going to college, downtown Atlanta. He was like, "Well, mom, I'll just stay at home so I can get him off the bus, and I'll just drive to school every day." And so it's like an hour drive, so he made that sacrifice. My best
Mhm.
friend pitched in to do this and make sure she got him on the bus. My aunt, my mom, like, so many people help, which again, community is so important because you can't do all things. But it was something that forced him to grow up as well. Honestly, before I left, Jackson was still wanting to sleep with me in the bed every night. Like, "Jackson, you are too big. Like, you sleep too wild, you can't sleep with me." But oftentimes, I didn't wanna deal with the whining or
Mhm.
the crying. I would just give in, or I would wake up and he would be at the foot of my bed. Like, I would put him in his room. By morning time, he would be at the foot of my bed. Jackson has done his room. I posted a video about today about his room and him talking about his aesthetics of his room, and he I have, like, a cleaning service come in every other week. He puts a note on his door to ask him to please not clean his room because they touched his stuff and they had threw something away. But he I don't think that probably would have happened as quickly if I hadn't had to leave him. So I think he gained more independence because mommy wasn't here to coddle him and, tell him that everything's okay. But
Mhm. Yes, we sometimes hinder our children with
oh,
coddle.
yeah.
But I want to thank you for gracing my show with your presence. I want to ask you, like, how could people find you on social media?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Like, this is such an honor, and it's been so great getting to know you. But you can find me on all social media at LaQuista Arena. And it's just my first and last name, LaQuistaErinna. And then also on the spectrum. So OWN, the spectrum.
Okay. Is that your community that you started?
That is my community that we are building, really to support families like mine, to just help you to really understand your child's diagnoses and help them to own it, like not own like own ON, but OWN. So we really want you to own what it means to be on the spectrum, really exposing your child to creative outlets, helping them build confidence through creativity, which I've done with my son.
I love it. Take pain and turn it into purpose.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
I very seldom recommend products unless I like them, I use them, and I agree with them. So when I tell you that this lint-free, no tree, 100% bamboo, biodegradable tissue is strong, 3-ply, and beautiful, I'm trying to tell you Leafy is it. I will leave my coupon code in the bottom of the description. It's DocG25. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Emerging with Grace. Ladies, remember, every challenge is part of your transformation. Just like the butterfly, you're meant to emerge from the chrysalis, stronger, braver, and ready to soar. Until next time, keep living your life in the sunshine and never stop flying higher. Share this journey with a friend who needs to glow and encouragement. Invite them to join our growing community of women who are rewriting their stories gracefully. I'll see you back here in 2 weeks for more inspiration, powerful narratives, and tools to help you shine brighter than ever before. This is Doc G, reminding you it's always your time to transform. Let's rise together, one flight at a time.
I don't reject myself, I reflect myself. I'm embracing every moment, won't neglect myself.